If we're still sitting.
History's embrace, Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator, Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils the secrets of time.
Hey, welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 189, June 9th, 2025. I had to think about it for a minute. How bad is that? It's been a strange day for many of us here on the Captain's Quarters Podcast today, but life goes on. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, how do you find the show? Go ahead, Davey, tell us how we find it. There it is, YouTube, Captain's Quarters Podcast, every Monday night at 8 o'clock. You can watch the show live at 8 o'clock via YouTube, and then at the end of the show, it downloads. But for now, use that QR code, like us, follow us, and subscribe to us, all three of those, and you'll be in the know on Captain's Quarters Podcast every Monday night. Thank you very much for that, Davey. And we jump right into Joke of the Week with Mini Mayhem. I happen to have Mini Mayhem here. He's in bad need of a bath and a shave and a haircut, but we'll get that all taken care of, and he'll be back in. But I'm sure Davey was able to get him to do at least one joke this week. Right, Davey?
Aye.
All right, let's see what we got.
Ahoy, mates. Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by our cartoon friend, Travis Rami of Salt City Comics. What drink do pirates prefer even more than rum? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
I think I might know this one. Just a guess, but I think I might know this one. We'll see at the end of the show. I'm not going to give it away. We'll wait till the end of the show when Davey and Mini Mayhem bring back up on the joke, and we'll see what the ending is. So let's see. That also jumps right into Ancient City Sirens. And this week in nautical history, if you need a good dance troupe, Miss Gina and her girls can do just about everything you can imagine. From belly dancing to fusion to line dancing, you name it, they can do it. Miss Gina and the Ancient City Sirens. Always a good, strong supporter of the Captain's Quarters Podcast. Take it away, Mr. Davey.
We begin this week in nautical history on June 9th, 1772. First naval attack of Revolutionary War takes place in Providence, Rhode Island. June 10th, 1627. Dutch privateer Piet Hein attacks Portuguese ships in the Bay of All Saints, Brazil. June 11th, 1944. 15 U.S. aircraft carriers attack Japanese bases on Marianas. June 12th, 1881. The USS Jeannette, under the command of George Washington DeLong, is crushed by Arctic ice after 21 months of icebound drifting. June 13th, 1957, Mayflower 2 from Plymouth, England reaches Plymouth, Massachusetts. June 14th, 1789, Captain William Bligh and his loyal men cast off from the HMS Bounty reached Timor after sailing 5,800 kilometers in a 6-meter launch. And finally, on June 15th, 1904, side-wheeler passenger paddle steamer General Slocum burns in New York's East River. 1,031 die. And that was this week in nautical history.
Very good, Davey. Excellent. And of course, let's you stand up there, little man. One of my pirates. Keeps me active here. So, what's next on the list there, Davey? There we go. Spyglass travel. You don't lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault, not leadership. Dwight David Eisenhower. That's a good one. I like that one. Very good, Dave. That is a good one. I am looking to see. That's what I'm looking for right there, that little arrow, so I can pop that up right there. Very good. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, after the quote of the week, we always jump into 8 bells. Davey, we have 4 this week, or do we have a couple more?
6.
6 this week. That's fine. 6 it is. And I'm sure most every one of them will be known. So let's see. It's brought to us by Marco's Pizza. You want a really good pizza? Marco's Pizza. We had some other pizza from another company the other night in the yard, and I have to tell you, not as good as Marco's Pizza. They make a really good pizza. They have 2 locations here in St. Augustine now, and there are a couple of other franchises up in Jacksonville. So if you are wanting a good pizza, call up Marco's Pizza and get the best. My favorite one of all is their garden pizza. Yep, no meat whatsoever, all veggies. Would never thought I'd have tried that, but it was well worth it. So let's see what we got, Davey. I need to put some glasses on. Arthur Hamilton Stern. Known professionally as Arthur Hamilton, an American songwriter, he is best known for his song Cry Me a River, first published in 1953 and recorded by Julie London and numerous other artists. He was a member of the Board of Governors of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Music Branch and a member of the board of the ASCAP Foundation. He was 98 years old. William Dana Atkinson, an American computer engineer, computer programmer, and photographer. Atkinson's work at Apple Computer from 78 to 90. Some of Atkinson's noteworthy contributions to the field of computing include Macintosh, QuickDraw, and Lisa Graf. Atkinson's independently discovered the midpoint circle algorithm for fast drawing of circles by using the sum of the consecutive odd numbers. That was a mouthful. Marching Ants, the menu bar, selection lasso, map paint, HyperCard, and dithering, and the app photocard. He was 74 years old. Thomas Michael Rafferty, an American professional football player who was an offensive lineman for 14 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys of the National Football League. He played college football for the Penn State Nittany Lions under head coach Joe Paterno. Okay. Gosh. 1988, Rafferty was inducted into the Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame. In 2000, he was made an inaugural member of the Fayetteville Manalists Hall of Distinction. He was 70 years old. John Richard Shulock, a professional baseball umpire who worked in the American League from 79 to 99. Major League Baseball. What in the world was that? Major League Baseball between 2000 and 2002. Shulock wore number 29 when the AL adopted them for umpires in 1980 and retained the number when the NL and the AL umpire staffs merged in 2000. Shulock umpired 3,050 Major League games in his 24-year career. He umpired in 2 World Series, 85 and 92, 2 All-Star games, 83 and 94, and 4 American League Championship Series, 88, 93, 98, and 2001, and 2 American League Division Series, 96 and 99. He was 76 years old. Sylvester Stewart, better known by his stage name as Sly Stone, was an American musician, songwriter, and record producer who is most famous for his role as frontman for Sly and the Family Stone, playing a critical role in the development of funk with his pioneering fusion of soul, rock, psychedelia, and gospel in the 60s and 70s. AllMusic stated that James Brown may have invented funk, but Sly Stone perfected it, and credited him with creating a series of euphoric yet politically charged records that proved a massive influence on artists for all musical and cultural backgrounds. Crawdaddy has credited him as the founder of the progressive soul movement. He was 82 years old. And Douglas Boyd Eggers, an American professional football player who was a linebacker for 5 seasons for the National Football League with the Baltimore Colts and the Chicago Cardinals. He played college football for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Eggers was inducted into the South Dakota State Jackrabbit Sports Hall of Fame in 1980, the South Dakota Sports Hall of Fame in 2021, and the Wagner Athletic Hall of Fame in 2019. He was 94 years old. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our 8 bells, 6 of them that we remember. Most all of them this past time was sports. We raise our glass and we say a hearty hail and farewell to those that have passed, but honor to their fans, their families, and their loved ones. Aye, give us 8 bells, Davey. Very good. Which jumps us right into this week's in history, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings. I don't have to say anything. We made a commercial. Take her away, Davey. Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why, look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin this week in history on June 9th, 1943. U.S. President FDR signs Current Tax Payment Act into law. Taxes withheld from workers' wages to go straight to the government. June 10th, 1692. The first victim of the Salem witch trials, Bridget Bishop, is hanged after being found guilty of witchcraft in the colony of Massachusetts. June 11th, 1947. Perennial Christmas film Miracle on 34th Street, starring John Payne and Maureen O'Hara, directed by George Seaton, is released. June 12th, 1923. Harry Houdini frees himself from a straitjacket while suspended upside down 40 feet above ground in New York City. June 13th, 1967. Thurgood Marshall nominated as the first African American Supreme Court Justice. June 14th, 1777. U.S. Continental Congress adopts the Stars and Stripes flag, designed by Francis Hopkinson, replacing the Grand Union flag. And finally, on June 15th, 1955, the Eisenhower administration stages the first annual Operation Alert exercise, an attempt to assess the U.S. preparations for a nuclear attack. And that was this week in history.
Very good, Davey. Some really interesting ones there. I like that one. So let's see here. We're still trying to work out. I've rebuilt our studio here, so I'm having a few problems with the new screen and everything that goes with it, but that's okay. I'll keep fighting with it. And let's see if this one will do it for me. There it is. All right, very good. Get off of that right there. So many things that I can't figure out right away, and I'm not quick enough to handle. There we go. All right. So normally around this time, we do a shot across the bow. I don't really have anything this week. I did, but the more I wrote it, the more angry I got about wanting to write it and not say anything. So I thought, let's not do a shot across the bow this week. So I'll just give everybody a reminder. If you get a phone call and you don't recognize the number, don't answer the call. There are a lot of scammers out there, and there's been a couple that have happened close to home here. And we had one last week that happened on a credit card, and we had another one that happened this morning on a debit card. Do not answer the phone, especially if the first words out of their mouth is, can you open your account via your cell phone? Hang up. Don't give them the time to do anything. In fact, I truly practice the idea that if I don't recognize the number, they can leave a message. And 8 times out of 10, they don't leave a message. So watch yourselves, because it's getting bad everywhere. Isn't that right, Mandy Joe?
I have to answer my phone, unfortunately, but I can tell you within the first hour of the morning, I have solicitors and scammers. Like can get upwards of 150, like 100 to 150. I've been on the phone with Daniel before and had multiple ones just sit and come in. They match emails, texts, calls, everything, and I have no choice but to check them all because of my job, which is great.
Well, I can understand that. And usually within the first 15 minutes, you can, 15 minutes, within the first 15 seconds, you can tell what's going on.
Yeah.
But they really, they really play on you. And it's the same with emails too now, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you how many times I get an email telling me that my Bitcoin account is in error and they need to have me open that account so that they can fix my Bitcoin. I don't even have Bitcoin.
So you probably don't even know how to buy Bitcoin.
I have no clue how to buy Bitcoin. In fact, I still don't trust Bitcoin as being the thing we should be going to. But I'm old fashioned. But when you get an email, look at the return address of the email. If it says it comes from, if you get an email and the subject of the email is about your account with Netflix, but the email comes from somebody named Joshua Brown, it's not from Netflix. Just pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Open your eyes, watch your emails, watch your phone calls, and don't get scammed. It's that simple. Just be aware. And on that note, I don't think I need to say anything else, but we can have a good cannon blast if it happens to be there. Is the cannon lit?
Oh, the cannon's, it's always lit.
Good. There it is. In fact, give me another one just for those scammers. I think we need to put that cannon on automatic. All right, let's see. On the horizon, well, we know we've got a couple of other guests coming up, but I just haven't had the wherewithal to go ahead and put it all down. So just watch. We have guests. We know we do. And on that note, I think what we should do is, hey, Davey, why don't we do this in a different order? Let's bring up and do the joke, the reveal of the joke, and then let's bring our guest on, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What drink do pirates prefer even more than rum? The answer is port. I see Mandy Joe laughing on the port side of.
Yeah, Daniel's shaking his head too. Yeah, I see that. And I didn't get it right. Because you know what I thought it was? I thought a pirate's favorite drink was high C.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Thank you. See, I'm going to have to teach Mini Mayhem a couple of good things about jokes, but port. Yeah, not many people know what port is. I do. I have about 4 bottles of it here, but that's a different story. All right. So, high C is a better answer. On that note, Davey, what do we got to put up on the screen to show about our guest coming in? Mad Mitch's Games. And boy, does he look mad in that picture right there. Boy, is that a logo and a half, I'll tell you what. But ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a good friend of mine, Mitch Mitchell of Mad Mitch's Games. Say hello to everybody.
Ahoy, mates.
Hi. And he's got a tabletop game, and I was under the wrong impression. But this will show that I don't know anything because tabletop, online, I thought they were all the same, but they're not. I've just learned tonight that there's online games and there's tabletop games. See, Daniel, I've learned one thing tonight. One. But I never played tabletop games, but Mitch has a game here, and I'm going to read you a part of one of the things we've done. It's called Avast, Ye Buccaneers and Cutthroats. And I wrote, let's see, where is it here? I didn't write it. It was in an email. And let me just read this off to you because it gives us a good explanation. Avast, Ye Buccaneers and Cutthroats is a cinematic, swashbuckling miniature skirmish war game set during the golden age of piracy, roughly between the years of 1650 and 1730. Although heavily pirated theme, this system can also be used for other similar encounters in the period, such as highwaymen or even rival mercenary factions. That's pretty good. Each player will control a captain or leader, plus other members of his or her crew with their own unique weapons, equipment, and knacks. Quit doing that. During the game, players will move, confront opponents, and attempt to complete objectives to win and be declared the pirate king or queen of this game. Sounds like a fun game to me, actually. And let's start with the most obvious of all questions, Mitch. Why? Why did you decide to do this game?
Because I love pirates and I love war games.
So it is a combination of pirate and war game, correct?
Yes, and it is cinematic pirates. You got assaulted by ducks.
I've been assaulted by ducks and my skeleton here. Yeah. All right. So great logo or great artwork there. So we now know why. The next question probably would be, when does it come available to the public?
July 15th, we will launch on Kickstarter. We'll have a 2-week campaign, and it will be available probably just a few weeks after the campaign ends, after Kickstarter does everything. It is a print. You can buy it as a printed book, and it'll be shipped to you, or you can buy it as a downloaded book, and you can print yourself.
So you can get it either way.
Yes.
And so that would ask the next question, where will people be able to find it?
Well, you will be able to find it, a link through my website, madmitchesgames.com, or you can go to the big store, which is called wargamevault.com, and it will be available there as well. Also through Kickstarter as of the 15th.
So some of you may notice that there's a fourth person staring at us from the screen, and that's Mr. Daniel out in Utah. And when I talk about Daniel, I brag about Daniel being probably an aficionado and the godfather of podcasting, because he's given us some wonderful advice about everything. I may exaggerate it a bit, but with exaggeration comes more advice, right, Daniel?
Yep.
So you found out about our guest today. Mandy let you know. Did you do a little backroom research to find out what was happening here?
Yes, she showed me a little bit about what's going on. I love tabletop games. Mandy helped me get my house and saw how many boxes of games that were moved to my house. And I have some friends that refuse to move me anymore because of the number of books and role-playing books I have. So it's kind of exciting. You've got Warhammer and various other tabletop games, but you don't really have anything for pirates. I have one that I love playing that's cowboys and demons, but now this is pirates, which is very exciting.
So this just brings me the question then, and I'll say hello real quick to Bo. There's Bo, and it is a tabletop game. What does D20 mean?
So D20 is the dice, but looking from the materials, it looks like it's a D6 system. Is that correct?
Yes, it uses multiple D6s.
Multiple D6s.
Yep.
So wait a minute. I think I've just figured something out. D means dice.
Yep.
And the number means the sides.
The number of sides on it. Yep.
Man, I've learned 2 things tonight. This is great. I'm learning things. Very good. Yeah. Is it going to have miniatures, or is it just the rule book?
Miniatures are an option that you can download and print yourself as STL files.
Ooh.
You'd probably be able to order them from some type of STL printer.
So what's an STL file?
Stereographic lithology.
So does that mean then you can use? Is that a file that you use to in a
3D printer?
3D printer. That's I had graphic printer in my head. So the files give you the chance to build little things that would be like these then.
Yes, not quite that big, but yes.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's exciting.
So Daniel, as far as you know, but I'm going to ask Mitch, is this really about the only pirate tabletop game in existence right now?
No, I mean there's other pirate games, but not one that looks like this. I mean, I like the artwork and everything. It was exciting, but I haven't seen anything. Some of it's like side stuff to other game systems, but this one looks like it's just completely devoted to pirates, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
It is, right?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to get away with this.
Man, that skeleton really wants to get in the middle of this.
He is really...
Seems like he wants to take over the show.
So, Davey, I sent you the video. Were you able to load that in? learn how to play a game now.
Yeah. So, quick question: are the STL files just the miniatures, or are they also the buildings?
No, they're just the miniatures.
Okay.
The buildings, there's various other places you can get buildings. All those buildings I made those from scratch, and that's a fun part of the hobby as well, is building all that type of stuff and collecting all these little pieces to use.
Yeah, that's really well crafted. That's amazing.
So Omar if I have it right, Omar is in Mexico. I do know that, and I believe Mexico City. So are you looking for distribution in Mexico? I know it's going to be on KS, but please consider us a distributor over here. So there might be an opening for you if you want to talk to him.
Sure, yeah.
Right. Omar is also now going to be inducted into the Order of Leviathan, and he'll be here in St. Augustine in March. Can we buy the miniatures ready-made, or do we have to paint them? My son paints miniatures for tabletop games, so you're not having the miniatures made that they can buy them like in a store somewhere, right?
No, I'm not offering that. That's incurs lots of extra shipping and stuff like that. Yeah. So you just be able to, buy them and print them yourself, or get a friend to print them, or you can send them off to have another company, that specializes in printing miniatures for you.
So Nightingale, just to let you know, all we have to do is figure out if there's any pirates in the area, and I think there's one or two that have 3D printers, and they would probably be more than happy to do that for you. Believe it or not, I've actually considered that having a 3D printer might be kind of something for us to do. Davey and I have talked about it a time or two. The only problem is it just means I have to learn something else.
I might have 4.
4? No wonder nobody wants to help you move.
Another thing, a lot of local game stores actually have 3D printers now. So you can go to your local game store and talk to them, and they will print the STL files out for you for a cost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty convenient, and that's fun. Let me back up and get the words right. That's actually a smart business move for game stores.
Yeah.
Extra way for income. That's a very good thing. So Bo says that her kids and she plays Plunder.
That's a fun game. That is a fun pirate game. Yep, I have it.
All right. Black Ball, who's over in the Panhandle, may need to look into this one. Most of my hoard is set in 2 boxes, 3 binders, and a mess of notes on Star Wars D20. I'm sorry. Bo has a 3D printer. Well, good. We'll be asking Bo to do some printing for us. The best thing about this hobby is you can paint your own minis. I don't want to know what you're doing with your minis. Let's keep it to the miniatures, okay? Ransom Mayhem, Black Ball could be a crew game night. Yeah, I mean, that might be something that would be a lot of fun to do. How many people can play at one time?
4. You can play 4 at a time.
Okay.
Competing crews.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, when you get your minis, they can print. Oh, maybe it's not showing up. Oh well. I was gonna show you some of the minis I painted, but that's okay. They're fun. It's a fun hobby. You spend lots of time painting. You can get them all different colors and stuff like that. You get a 3D printer. You can have them printed out probably an hour or 2, and then let them dry, and then you're painting them the same day.
Yeah, you only need a few. I mean, 15 is what you need for a full 2 players.
Nice.
But just a base game would be maybe 4 or 5 figures per side is all you really need. So it's a low model count game. You don't need a lot to get started.
Well, this sounds like a really cool game, and not being in the know on games. So you've had a love of pirates. We talked about this before the show. You've had a love of pirates since you were a kid.
Right.
And so some of your influence on this would be Pirates of the Caribbean from Disney World.
Right.
The movies too, or the rides when you went to Disney World?
Oh, the rides. I mean, I enjoyed the movies too, and the pirate house up in Savannah, and just other piratey things.
Piratey things. Well, that's why we're all into it, for the piratey things.
That's right.
So how long have you been working on this game?
Almost 5 years. So it takes a while to develop it and play test it and make sure all the rules work and there's no issues that come up. So yeah, I've worked on it quite a bit.
So one of the other reasons we got hooked up here, because we're friends, and We met through the Pirate Museum, didn't we?
Ancient City Con, I think.
Oh, that's
First
right,
time.
Ancient City Con. 5 or 6 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ancient City Con is a really great con. Davey and I go to that con every year. We're going, right, Davey? Hello?
I got to stop doing what Mandy does. Yes,
What
We're
you
going
can't
to
do?
Ancient City Con this
she's
year, aren't we?
muting herself. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I like that. That was one of my
that's a
favorite
good
ones.
con. We're also working on going to FanX, but we're still working on that. We just talked about it a little bit. That's in Tampa, so we're going over there for that. But we're going over there for a different reason. Mostly take cameras and walk around and make ourselves look like we're important.
That's not hard to do. I do it all the
No,
time.
I'm looking forward to it. And I actually, you guys don't know this. Daniel doesn't know this, but I may go over and wear a non-pirate costume over there. I may go over and be Dumbledore or whatever the hell his name is.
Dumbledore.
It's Dumbledore. You got it right the first time.
I guess if I'm going to wear it, I better get his name right, huh? So, who helped you do all this with this game? Is it all completely on you, or?
It's a lot on me, but I had help from friends, going through it and helping me figure things out.
So Nightingale has a good one. So are the rules strictly to code, or are they more like guidelines?
They be guidelines.
And she couldn't resist that one. I know, very good. So one of the other reasons that I brought Mitch here, I wanted to help support his game and do what we could because it's a pirate game, and there's some other ideas like, we could do a game night for our crew because I already saw that Mayhem's crew thought that a game night would be a lot of fun. Might also be kind of fun at Ransom to consider setting up a game or two of it over there during your pirate festival in the evening one time. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Just a thought. But prior to the show, Mitch got here early and he had 5 paragraphs that he wanted to record my voice doing for the Kickstarter and the promotional of it, right?
Correct. Yes, the videos.
So we did a couple of takes through all of it, and hopefully they sound all right.
They sounded great to me.
He heard them. He has a really cool device, and we did the recordings, and he's got it all on a little disc and whatever. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Where'd that come from?
That's one of my setups when I go to conventions. I'll bring Skull Island, and those are the same buildings I have here, and I just have it set up, just a different scenario that you play. That's just some close up with some of the miniatures fighting, just some more.
How do you do movement?
Movement's kind of unique in the game. You have dice that represent your actions, and they also represent your movement and your wounds. So if you want to move, you just simply roll a die and you move that many inches.
Okay.
But that takes away from the other actions you can do.
So Omar asks, how many miniatures you can use per game? Is it an I go, you go game?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fantasy or historical?
Okay. So
that's a good question.
Those are all good questions. So like I said, 4 or 5 miniatures to start the campaign is really all you need to start the game with. You'd have a captain, a quartermaster, and a couple crew members, and that's really all you need to start. It is an alternate activation system, which means after one of your guys goes, then one of my guys goes, then one of your guys go, and we go back and forth.
So that's what he means by I go, you go.
Right. It's not all your side and then all my side. So
okay.
It's different. And it's not fantasy, and it's not exactly historical. That's why I called it cinematic. So there's no supernatural in it, but it leads more towards Errol Flynn, Treasure Island, Captain Blood. Those type of movies, those type of shows.
And the weaponry and the concepts, those stick to what you said or what I read, the golden age of piracy.
Right. Yeah. Cutlasses, flintlock pistols, muskets. There's nothing out of the ordinary there.
There'll be no M16s materializing out of thin air.
No space ray guns.
No space ray guns or anything else. All right, very cool.
But not historical either, in the fact that I mean, in history, pirate battles, if you look them up, there's like 5.
Yeah.
Less than 5 true pirate battles. So most of it we've romanticized through cinema, and I'm just trying to capture that.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a fun game, and I'm actually interested in it, not only because I get to help and lend my voice to some of the promotions of it, and it's going to go on, what was the program on the website that you're, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So it'll be on Kickstarter starting July 15th. So that'll be something for, and we might just have to post a little banner on all the next Monday nights leading up to it to get more people to remember it, to go to it, and see what we can do about getting it to become a really popular thing. I posted our show tonight on 17 different pirate group pages or Facebook pages. So hopefully some of those advertisements will get people to watch the show after it downloads, because not all of those people are going to be here.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens. Davey, I see by the time, and we're going to try to do this the way we're trying to do our new setup, I see by the time that it is getting close to what we want to be doing. And what we want to be doing right now is doing our thank you video, because it's almost time to close the show and then get into the guests for a little bit more. So let's do our thank you video and then show our platform and show our numbers.
All right.
A Captain's Quarters podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we would like to take this opportunity to thank those who help keep the podcast going.
The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Joe. Our charities we support: Agla's Acres, St. Augustine Humane Society, and Inc. Investing in Kids. The 3 major charities for support, but always room for more. You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to our Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a powder monkey, first mate, or captain sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
All right. If you are one of our members, we're going to be moving in just a few minutes. Just a quick reminder, and Mandy's putting that out there also. At the end of the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, all our shows download automatically to Spotify, Instagram, and Twitch and Facebook. Or if you just want to listen to us because you don't want to look at my ugly face, which I understand, that's good enough for me, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Stitcher, Twitter, Music, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. And we may be adding a couple more to it down the road. So there you go. And our numbers, Davey, are they looking good, solid numbers?
Yep.
Man, we're just 3 away from 1,500. 3. We better fix that by next week. That's all I got to say. 3 away. Very good. So, Davey, this was a good show. What do you think, Mandy? Yeah? Yeah. Daniel, we thank you for being a guest on the show. As always, anything you have to say or want to say or advice, we will listen to it, of course, because you are the guru.
All right.
We appreciate that. Are you going to come out to Tampa for FanX out here?
We'll see. There's a lot of stuff happening at the same time, so
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, it'd actually be kind of interesting to meet you in person because I haven't done that yet.
Yep.
So
Nope, it'd be fun.
it would. I think we'd have a good time sitting around and talking about all this stuff. Very good.
Yes.
So there's our email, ladies and gentlemen, Captain's Quarters Podcast 21. If you actually need to remember that, just remember Captain's Quarters Podcast, and we started our first episode in 2021. That's why we use the 21. Captain's Quarters Podcast 21 at gmail.com. Send us some information. I'm going to tell everybody, sometime in the real near future, sometime in the next couple of weeks, I think, I had a young lady come into the Pirate Museum and took my tour, about 22 or 23 years old, and she graduated from with an animation degree, and she created a 6-minute cartoon animation of Samuel Bellamy.
What?
So, look who just turned their face. Look at that.
I'm intrigued.
What's that?
You said the right words.
I'm intrigued
Samuel
by
Bellamy.
this.
And
Yes.
look who turned. And she was pretty proud of it. It got her a good grade. It got her diploma. She said, they didn't really grade them. It got me my diploma, though. So I said, okay. So I think she sent it to me in today's email, and I haven't looked at it yet. So I'm going to look at it. But we're going to ask her to be a guest because she's going to what is it when you intern? She's going to intern down at the Hollywood Studios down in Orlando for a year now. And so she said she'd even come up here and be on the show in person. But the other thing that was really cool, I talked to my friend Robert Farrell. Some of you all know him. And he is a second-generation artist at Disney. And he told me over the weekend to give her his name, and he would help her in any way, shape, or form he could. So he's always good about that. He feels that the older people in the art world should mentor and look after the younger ones, especially if they have lots of talent, because we don't want things dying out. So we're going to have her on our show in a couple of weeks. We have a couple of other shows planned for the Rose Tea Room downtown, the Cigar Bar downtown, and a couple of others in the works. We'll see what happens. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off, and we'll immediately be signing back in. For those of you that are on our membership roll, this is an opportunity for you to see how it works, and our membership entitles you to sit and be a part of our secondary part of the show with our guest, and it's all we're going to do is sit and talk about those things. While we go blank for just a moment or two, it gives me a chance to go over and bring a bottle and a couple of glasses over here, and we're good to go. So how do we close out, Davey?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you. We could. It's just not as much fun. We prefer to have you here with us. So join us every Monday night at 8 o'clock, Captain's Quarters Podcast. We look forward to seeing you. Take us out to sea, Davey.
With wit and charm, they make it clear.